to a PC presentation about double goal coaching. Before I explain what double goal coaching is, I want to tell you a little bit about myself and why I am sharing this information. My background in competitive
Did it pause for anyone else?
Yes, he's frozen. Hello? We had someone this morning that had a really difficult time getting on to the Hangout, and I said, well, this is perfect because this happens at workshops all the time.
Before I discuss the idea of double goal coaching further, I have a few questions I'd like to ask you. If you participated in youth, high school, or college sports, I'd like you all to stand up. Any of you that participated in youth, high school, or college sports? Okay, I see that many of you are standing. Now, those of you that participated in high school or college sports, please remain standing, and those of you that just participated in youth sports may sit down. Oh, some of you didn't continue coaching or participating. Now I'd like those of you that just participated in college sports remain standing, and if you were in high school sports only, please sit down. Oh, we have a few survivors. Well, those of you that stopped at whatever reason, at whatever level before college, I want you to think about why were the reasons that you discontinued in your sport experience, and share with your neighbor a couple of reasons why you didn't continue on in sport. I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about that. Okay, at this point in my presentation, I'd ask you to share some of the reasons. Ruben, did you participate in sports all the way through college?
You're muted, Ruben.
Yes, I am muted. Yes, I did participate. I participated on the sideline, sitting on the bench a lot, but I did participate.
Okay. And, well, I don't know if this audience might be a little skewed to the high level of participation.
I think so,
anyway,
especially now that Marty's joined us.
Why some of the participants that did sit down may have not participated beyond their certain levels. Another question I want to ask real quickly. While you were in sports, did you ever hear the idea that winning is all that matters? And if you did, we're going to use this as part of our discussion of the different types of programs. There are many coaches in athletic programs that push the approach and is often called the win at all costs type of approach. PCA has developed a different model that coaches can use in sports. This model is called the double goal coach. The other day, when I was having coffee with a longtime friend, former teammate, and a person who coached many years, we talked about this idea, and he said, well, what is it? And I told him, unlike the win-at-all-cost type of approach or the participation where everybody gets a trophy approach, I told him that double goal coaching stresses the importance of winning as well as learning life lessons. We both kind of remember the time when everybody on a youth soccer team got a trophy, regardless of whether they played, had any skills, tried hard. The whole team, everybody got trophies. And many people thought, this is a joke. All I have to do is show up, and I'll get a trophy. So with the idea of double goal coaching, the focus is on the process rather than results. With the PCA program, they developed 3 major principles that can be used by a double goal coach. I'm going to share all 3 principles, but my focus today will be on the first principle, which is the Elm Tree of Mastery. The first principle, Elm Tree of Mastery. The second principle is filling the emotional tank. And the third principle is called honoring the game. All these are important to become a double goal coach. And today's focus will be on the first principle, the Elm Tree of Mastery. A double goal coach, in using the Elm Tree of Mastery, shares one of the goals of a win-at-all-cost approach coach, where they want to win on the scoreboard. But they add the idea that they want to coach for mastery, focusing on getting better, and then hopefully the scoreboard results will follow. With the idea of a double goal coach, winning is a byproduct of moving athletes along the road to mastery of their sport. One of the questions that I want you guys to think about: who won more Olympic gold medals? The scoreboard-focused athletes or the athletes that focused on the mastery of their sport? Were the ones that focused on their mastery of sport. U-Sport can be a framework that can help you become successful in whatever you choose to do beyond the playing field. Again, my coffee buddy and I talked about this idea and how when we were coaching, sometimes we forgot the emphasis that was put on learning life skills like goal setting, hard work, cooperative efforts. But many times when I was giving my swimmers a real hard workout, I would say, you're going to thank me someday because I'm making you work real hard, and you're going to thank me someday because the efforts that you're putting into these workouts are going to be useful for you in whatever you choose to do. Goal setting was a big deal. We talked about goal setting in our sports, and I think that that's an important life skill that I would share with the athletes, that the process of goal setting can be useful not only in the pool, but it can be in any other life endeavor. So as we talk now about the Elm Tree of Mastery, it's a big step becoming a double goal coach. I'm going to go through these with you. And first, I'll talk about the scoreboard definition versus the mastery definition, and then we'll get more into what the Elm Tree, the E, the L, and the M are all about. I lost the timeout here. I'm trying to see where my clock is.
You still have 8 minutes left. You're fine.
All right. I'm just moving along. Okay. So we have a comparison with the scoreboard definition of coaching and the mastery definition. With the scoreboard approach, mainly the coaches are going to focus on results. What's the scoreboard? Who's winning? With the mastery, a coach might say, we're going to focus on your effort. How hard are you trying? Are you working to get back on defense? Are you working on offense? Are you putting in a hard, sincere effort? With the scoreboard definition, they'll be looking. The athletes will be comparing themselves with others. Oh, man, that person's really.
Is he frozen?
I think so.
I think you must have a bad connection.
It's frozen for me too.
Okay. Give him a second to unfreeze. I wonder if he can hear us when he's frozen. Come on, Dennis. Come back to us. I don't know if that means we lost him. Huh. Okay. Can anybody still see him?
No, he just left the screen. Well, what does it say? It says, oh, no, he's not there.
Okay. Whoops, now he's gone. Okay. That was strange. Thanks, guys, the rest of you, for joining in. I guess we just pause and maybe let Lise start and let Dennis hop in when he comes back. I don't want to waste anybody's time being on here.
Sure. Okay, I'm happy to do
right?
that. Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I do have a question for you, though.
Yeah.
I have the slideshow kind of to my right. I'm going through 11 through 18.
Okay.
That's what I thought we were doing.
Whichever principle you want to do.
Okay, I'm doing the Elm Tree of Mastery.
Okay, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. So the reason Marty's on here too is Lise is from Southern California. So just to let you know, have you met Marty?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Hi, Marty.
We've spoken over the phone a couple of times. I'm the partnership manager.
Oh, hi, Marty.
Yeah.
How are you? Nice to meet you.
Probably thought I was a guy, but that's okay.
And Sean, thank you for joining us too.
I guess after the introduction, so I'll just go into it. As you know, my name is Lise Bernard. Thank you so much for being here at the Double Goal Coach Workshop. My background is a little bit different than many of the PCA trainers. My background comes really from education and from being a part of an athletic club. I helped to start a charter school down here in San Diego called Explorer Elementary about 14 years ago. The focus and mission was to foster social and emotional intelligence while not sacrificing academics, which 14 years ago they said they couldn't be done. You either could have a school that focused on positives or one that focused on academics, but the two wouldn't meet. It worked. Right now we've got about 1,000 kids on the waiting list to get on the lottery because it is a public school, and we're a distinguished school. So the principles that we use, the positive principles we used, really did work. In addition, I'm on the board with the San Diego Young Aztecs, and it is basically a rugby club. We've got about 800 athletes and 26 teams. Part of my role is to work with coach education. So I stumbled upon PCA last year and was fortunate enough to be able to go to a workshop led by Ruben. And much to my surprise, I saw that many of the principles, most of the principles that we use or you use here at PCA are the same ones that we use at Explorer Elementary. So it really was, for me, a slam dunk. I love working with coaches. I love the principles, and so this is just something that I'm very passionate about. In terms of positive coaching, what I'd like to know from you guys is, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear positive coaching? What do you think of?
I'm back.
Okay, Dennis, if you don't mind pausing, not to interrupt you, but we had Lisa get started because I wasn't sure if you were going to be back yet. Is that going to mess up your flow if we let Lisa just finish with her 15 minutes?
That's
I'm
okay.
good either way.
I'm back. Yeah, I was almost done, but okay.
I'm
Kelly,
sorry.
I can put it on hold.
Okay. Thank you, Lise. Let's let Dennis finish then. Sorry, guys. It's not usually this tricky. Go ahead. You can finish.
All right. So I was talking about the mastery, results-oriented versus, the scoreboard definition versus mastery. With the mastery climate, anxiety can go down, and self-confidence can go up. So what the thing that the mastery approach gives is athletes a sense of control. They may work harder, and they may stick with it longer. With a coach, their attitude, the coaches may include things in their workout saying, if you give it your best effort, I'll be proud of you regardless of the outcome. The coaches may also include the ideas in their practices that learning requires having a teachable spirit, which let's try to learn something at every practice. And then the other thing is that great competitors don't throw a tantrum when they make a mistake. They reset to the next play and later try and learn from that mistake. And they learn to have what they call a mistake ritual. I'm a hack at golf, and I play golf, and sometimes I'll miss a short putt, and maybe 3 shots later I'll still be thinking, darn, how come I missed that shot? Well, athletes need to focus that the most important play is the next one, and they need to let go of their mistakes, bounce back from them. If a player, dwells on a mistake, it can hurt their performance. So one of the ideas that PCA talks about is a mistake ritual. come up with a mistake ritual. You know, don't sweat it. You know, where you wipe it away or flush it. I thought about this when I was doing a little research about this program. During the 6th game of the World Series, the Giants got beat by Kansas City 10-0, and it was a terrible game. It made the series tied at 3 games each, and the Giants had to go into the 7th and final game at Kansas City, having just been spanked badly with a 10-0 score. Well, I was thinking that if I were Bruce Bochy, I would say to the team, flush it, let it go, let's play this next game. And they ended up winning the 7th game. So I thought that was a mistake ritual that would probably be a very, very useful thing. So the idea of double goal coaching and the elm of mastery, I'm going to recap on it real quickly. If you have a player, one of the mistake rituals that you can think about, what would you do if you had a player who hung his or her head every time he or she misses a shot? As a result, they don't go back on defense. What can you do as a coach? I want you to think about that and focus on what you would do as a coach. How might you encourage this athlete to not be bothered by their mistakes? So we won't have discussion about that at this point.
You can have discussion happening if you'd like, if you want to add that in, just to your questioning. Please do. That's what we want to see here. We want to see your questioning style and how you get the audience involved, so that is welcomed, please.
Okay, so Lise, what would you do if you were a coach and you had a player that hung their head and didn't go back on defense? What's some of the things you could do to encourage that player to change that behavior after they make mistakes?
Well, I think during the game, if we had a mistake ritual, I would use it to get him to move on to the next play. If it was a chronic problem, then it's not a mistake anymore, it's a problem. So if that was the case, I indeed might take him out of the game, but that would be something that I would address. That's something, you're hurting your team, you need to, get your head back in the game, you need to get back on defense or back on offense or whatever you need to get back to. I would definitely have a conversation with them.
Yeah, that's good. Good. I know that many times, just share. I like that example, and I know that you can even practice and develop practice skills where you make the team go back on defense regardless if they have a good or bad shot. Just a transition, shoot and go back automatically. So you can have drills once they take the shot. You transition regardless if it's a good shot, you make the shot, you don't make the shot. So just get them in the habit of don't sit around and watch the ball hit the goal or go through the hoop or whatever or get blocked. So yeah, that's good. So mistake rituals are a big portion or part of the elm tree. And so in recapping the elm tree of mastery, it can help coaches and athletes achieve better results and develop some life skills. So that concludes my presentation on the elm tree of mastery, and thank you all for your time and your interest. And what we're going to do in our next presentation, we'll talk more about the other principles of the double goal coach. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. I have 1439.
Yep, that was great. And even getting stuck in the middle, you continued on. Thank you for continuing on. We appreciate that. All right, what I'd like to do, Dennis, how did you feel versus when you did the training in San Francisco last week? How do you feel prepared-wise? Do you feel like you changed a few things based on their feedback?
I'm a lot more prepared.
Okay.
As some of the suggestions from the feedback from the event 2 weeks ago was focus on stick to the basics, and so I pretty much stuck to the basics, and I knew more about the basics by reading a little bit more and doing a little more preparation. So I felt much better about my presentation as far as the flow and the information. Got a little more in depth with some of the concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the good points.
Okay. All right, great. What I'd like to do, if each of you don't mind, I'd like to say a positive that you found in Dennis, and then we'll go through and say one wish, that if you had a wish that he would have done a little bit differently. So let's start off with the positives first. Lise, would you mind just mentioning a positive that you saw in his workshop?
I loved his passion, and I love the examples that he brought in from his experience.
Okay, thanks. Marty?
I love the knowledge that he had about the content, and also the examples that he used while he was explaining each of the principles. So that was great.
Okay. Sean, how about you?
I definitely felt that it was a lot more prepared and a lot smoother than it was last, I guess, 2 weeks ago now at the trainer day. So I definitely think that it was much better.
Okay. Taylor?
I also thought you were a lot more prepared this time, Dennis, and I really liked the World Series reference that you brought in with Bruce Bochy and the Giants.
Okay. And Ruben?
Because you're a Giant fan, probably.
I saw cheering from Sean going on, too. I can tell who our audience is.
Well, if the Cubs were in there, Sean would have been disappointed. But
Ruben, how about you?
I like the fact that Dennis is paying attention to time and that he's aware of that. I think that's good to see.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to add, too, I really like the way you got us up and out of our seats the very first thing. You showed that you wanted us to be engaged, and I think that was a good way to get our attention, especially after I've had a long day of work, and it's 7 o'clock at night for our workshop, and it's neat to show that you want us to participate. I think that's a good way to set the tone for the workshop. All right, the other thing, and I'm gonna add a few here. The other thing that I really liked, and somebody brought it up too, but I was gonna add to, when you told stories, you came alive. You smiled. You were able to tell them from your heart, and it didn't seem like something that you were reading or just telling us. You were actually speaking from a heart. It was a different cadence in your voice, and you seemed excited to tell us a story. So I think your storytelling abilities are very strong there. How about a wish? Lise, do you mind me starting with you? Is there something that you would like to comment on, some feedback?
I think maybe the one wish would have been like a one-line definition, and maybe I missed it, of a mistake ritual. So a mistake ritual is this.
Good point.
Okay.
Okay, Marty?
I would have to say just bring more of that, like when he tells stories and what you were just commenting on, how he comes alive and really gets into it and has us feel that from his heart. I would like to see more of that when he's talking about the content as well. Getting us involved and really speaking through a place of the heart and not just feeling like more of a presentation. I want to feel like we're having a great conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so more animation during the meat of the presentation. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, more animation, more involvement, and just keep that enthusiasm and energy and stay alive while you're discussing that information.
Yeah, thank you. That's good. And I think the more I get to know the material, then it'll probably be more natural, and still getting up to my knees in it.
More animation. Have fun with it. Be excited about it. Truly show that passion that you have. Oh,
I was having lots of fun when I was trying to get Brooke back up on it. Where is it? Where is it? Okay.
Okay, Sean?
I think with more practice, I would like to see more confidence, obviously, with the content. I think when you tell the stories, you're very confident, you stand out, you make me want to listen, and I think with more practice, I think the rest of the content you'll have the same approach with. So I just wish that you were more confident in the material as you are with your stories.
Mm-hmm.
Good, thanks.
Okay, Taylor?
Oh, I don't like going last. Everybody thinks what I'm going to say.
I'll go last then.
But I'm just going to second what kind of Marty and Sean were saying about once you've mastered the content, and I still think it was a lot better than 2 weeks ago, you'll be able to put more energy into the content and be able to relate it back to your stories a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And my biggest, as I said, to reiterate what everybody else said, but my biggest thing was just getting me engaged. I'm in your audience, and I want to be pulled into what you're talking about, because this is a workshop instead of a presentation. So I think you know the content, I can tell, but I want to know how I can use that. So I want to toss around some ideas, or think about ways I can use it with my team, or maybe you can pull some ideas out of me in your audience rather than telling me how to do something. Get me to share some of the great mistake rituals that I use, or some of the things I do on my team that might relate to the principals a little bit more. And I just think that would help keep the audience a little bit more on their toes, which is what you're looking for.
Yeah, and knowing who the audiences are going to be and what sport, that I guess would be an adaptation to the audience for what sport-specific types of things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, good.
Okay, Ruben, did you have anything last to add before we move on?
Spice it up. Have fun with this. Bring energy to it. I want to see your personality come through, Dennis. I want you to infuse some humor, and you know what? I want this to be a highlight of your day, is when you come and deliver this workshop and get to spend this time with us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ruben. I think one of the things is when you were telling stories, you looked like you were having fun. And if you're having fun, we'll have fun. But the rest of the time when you were sort of giving information, if you don't look like you're enjoying it, then that's not conveying to us either. So I know it's a little bit of, learning content, feeling more comfortable with it, but I just think that would really help you a lot. All right, Lise, sorry we cut you off in the middle, but we cut you off right after your introduction. So if you if you had any more to add to your introduction, you can, or else you can just jump right in to the principal, wherever you feel best to stop or start. I mean.
Well, I think the ending of the introduction was I wanted to get an idea from all of you guys what comes to mind when you think of positive coaching. What's the one word or one or two words that comes to mind?
Encouragement.
Confidence.
Energy. Energy.
Okay. This is from a group of positive coaching people. So I was kind of hoping for everybody wins.
There we go.
Hippies.
That's kind of how I wanted to open it and kind of get that dead rat off the table.
Yeah.
Because I think for some coaches, they look at positive coaching as everybody wins, everybody gets a medal, telling Johnny he had a great game when clearly he didn't. And positive coaching and the principles we're going to talk about today are not about that. They're about being competitive. They're about striving to win. The only difference is that we're striving to win without sacrificing character for our players. And the principles here in this workshop are really designed to increase performance of your team and your players. And I am starting with the Elm Tree of Mastery. So I'm going through the slides from 11 to 18. Do you all have the slides, or am I just kind of doing this?
We know them.
Okay.
You're good. Yep.
Okay. Our motto at PCA is better athletes, better people. And we believe that to make this happen, and the way to make this happen is to really get into the development zone. And to do that, we need to recognize that we're not part of the billion-dollar entertainment professional sports industry. What is the bottom line in professional sports? Anyone?
Money.
Bottom line?
Win.
To win. Did I hear money?
Yes.
Yeah. To win, money. Those are the two big ones, right?
Crush your opponent.
Pardon me?
To crush your opponent.
Okay, yeah, okay. Those are the three big ones. Crush the opponent, win, and make money. What's the bottom line in youth sports? How is that different?
I think youth sports, the bottom line is growth and development.
Growth and development.
And I don't know if Marty just said it. I would add fun too.
I think Marty said to learn.
Yeah.
Oh.
So to learn, to have fun, growth and development, really, really different description than when we're talking about the sport, the professional sports arena, isn't it? one of the things that we want to do is really shift from, if there's a mentality of the professional sports arena, into the development zone. And if we're not there already, to move into it, and if we are there, to really maintain and foster a culture of the development zone. And to do that, there are 4 groups that really play a big part in it. The first one is the leadership. The leadership of an organization needs to have a vision and act on the vision to have a development zone. The next, and we've talked about this already in the presentation, was double goal coaches. And all of you as coaches are critical to this endeavor. You're striving to win, but creating character and teaching life lessons along the way. The third are parents. Do parents factor into the culture at all in your sports organizations?
Yes.
Yeah, a lot, right? With parents, what we're encouraging them to do is really to focus and be second goal parents. So where the coaches have 2 goals, to win and to teach life lessons, we really want the parents to concentrate on just the life lessons, helping your kids absorb and learn from the life lessons that they're learning through sports. Brown and Miller recently did a study where they posed this question to about, I don't know, several hundred college athletes, and they asked them, what's your worst memory of youth sports? Has anyone seen this study? Can anyone fathom to guess what the worst memory of youth sports would be? Number 1 on the list.
Parents yelling at them.
Parents yelling at them. It's close up there.
Coaches yelling at them. Coaches disappointed in them.
The ride home with mom and dad.
Mm.
The ride home where mom says or dad says, why did you swing at that ball? It was so high. What was the ref thinking? What was the coach thinking? Worse yet, what were you thinking? They pose another question to the same athletes. What did your parents say to you when you were playing sports that made you feel good? 6 words. I love to watch you play. And that's where we want to get our parents. Enjoy watching your kids play. Worry about the life lessons and leave the coaching to the coaches. Last but not least is our athletes. We want them and encourage them to be triple impact competitors. And what that means is make yourself be better, make your team be better, and by the way you compete and carry yourself on the field, make the game be better. Slide. Let's start by exploring the 3 principles that double goal coaches use. The Elm Tree of Mastery, which focuses on effort, learning, and mistakes. Filling the emotional tank. When you have athletes that feel valued and heard and appreciated regardless of their talent, they're going to come back, they'll work harder, they'll stay on task longer. And lastly, honoring the game. Honoring your teammates, yourself, your opponents. Whoops. I'm not going to show you, okay, I'm so sorry to break in, but I'm not showing you the clips, am I?
No, you don't need to do that. Nope.
Okay.
We've
Okay.
seen them.
I figured. What I'd like to do as we explore the principle of the Elm Tree of Mastery, which is the first one, is show you 2 clips. They're each of different coaches with very different coaching styles. And what I'd like you to do as you watch them is look at how they're alike and how they're unalike, how they're similar and not similar. Okay, we've all watched. So, how are these 2 coaches alike? How are their missions similar to each other?
They both want to win.
They both want to win.
They both said that they were proud of the guys in different ways, but they both said they were proud of them.
They did. They did.
They're both.
They're both passionate, right? They both want to win. They're both pretty passionate. And they both were proud of the team. How are they not similar? What was different about their approach?
One of them said effort didn't really matter.
Right.
Winning was all that mattered. First coach. Second coach said, hey, effort is all that matters, or matters a great deal.
Exactly. For the first coach, it wasn't how they played the game. Effort didn't matter. It was all about the win. And for the second coach, it really wasn't all about the win. He could see them as being winners even if they didn't win. For him, it was how they played the game. Does anybody here know the All Blacks? The All Blacks rugby team? All Blacks rugby team? Anyone familiar? They were recently here. The All Blacks are, uncontested, the most winning team in the history of sports. Their record just beats every record of any sport, anywhere, over history. And when they came in November, there was a huge match between our Eagles, our national team, and the All Blacks in Chicago this November. 60 Minutes Sports did a special on them. And what most people don't know, many people don't know, even though they win constantly, they've got the recipe down. What eluded them for 20 years was the World Cup. They couldn't take it home. Couldn't do it. And so the interviewer, of course, says to Dan Carter, who's the most captain of the All Blacks, what was up with that? You win everywhere, but you couldn't take home the World Cup. Dan Carter said, it was a ball and chain around our neck. The pressure to win was too much. This is a team that has access to sports psychologists, trainers, elite coaches, you name it. If they can't get their arms around a win when it's too important, how do we expect our kids to? Can't. What we can do is have them focus on being masters of their sport. We can coach them for mastery. The slide I'm showing now, if you can't see it, is which Olympic athletes earn the most medals. Those who focus on scoreboard and winning, or those who focus on mastering their sport and getting better? Can you put your hand up, number one, you think they win more medals, or number two, they win more medals? Can't see fingers. Okay, I can't see fingers, so one. Okay, there you go. One finger with a number one. So, Kelly, you said that those who focus on scoreboard and winning win the most. Actually, the athletes that win the most, the Olympic athletes that medal the most, are the ones that are coached for mastering their sport. They're coached for mastery. Joan Duda out of Birmingham, the University of Birmingham, she's now at Purdue, ran a study at the 2000, I think, Sydney Olympics, and she looked at a group of athletes, one group who was coached for mastery, the second group who was coached for winning, coached for scoreboard, coached to get the gold. At the end of the day, the athletes that medaled more were the ones that were coached for mastery. And although this is an older study, it is from the Sydney Olympics, this research has been proven over and over and over again. And this is the one thing in the sports world that isn't controversial. Athletes that are coached for mastery simply win more. So let's take a look at Principle 1, the elm tree of mastery. Sorry. What I'd like to do is compare and contrast the scoreboard definition to the mastery definition. On the scoreboard definition, it's all about the results, right? Similar to coach number 1 in the Marshall clip, it's all about the win. On the mastery definition, it's about the effort. What does the athlete bring to it? What kind of effort do they put into it? Part of the trick here as a coach is to get your players to believe that what you're really after with them is the effort and not the result, right? Because a lot of you your athletes think a coach really wants us to win. So it's a bit of a shift. How would you get your athletes to believe that what's important to you is their effort? Is that something that you are doing now? How do you currently do it? This is an active
you can make sure that the hardest workers actually get playing time.
Right, so you can make it a point of increasing playing time if they're working at it. Absolutely. How else?
You cannot pull out someone who makes a mistake if they were trying their hardest, you know. You don't sit them on the bench after they make a mistake. If they hustled and they actually gave it their all, you keep them in the game and encourage them to continue to keep that level of play.
Yes, absolutely. One of the best ways to show your athletes that it's effort that you're after, one, is to shine a light on it, right? So when you see effort that you're loving, let them know. But even more importantly, if you reward or you praise unsuccessful effort, you're sending a loud and clear message. If Johnny makes a try, that's what we call it in rugby, or a goal, or a score, or a basket, and you yell out, way to be aggressive, way to drive forward, and he was successful, he's probably still going to hear what? Great basket.
Good job. Way to go. Mm-hmm.
Right? Because even though you're praising the effort, it had a positive result. If Johnny misses, so if he's running down, going to get a try, and he gets tackled, or bobbles the ball, or makes a bad pass, and I still yell out, Johnny, way to drive forward, way to be aggressive, you'll get it next time, what does he hear?
Way to be aggressive. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And not only does Johnny hear it, but everyone else on the team is hearing it as well. So you're really driving home the message that what I want and what's important is effort, and when you do that, you'll get a whole lot more of it. The second scoreboard definition is comparison with others. On a scoreboard coach or scoreboard-driven person, you're comparing yourself with others, you're stacking yourself up. How do I compare what's my self-value when I look at everybody else? And in a mastery definition, it's really about your own learning. Where am I today? Where was I yesterday? And where am I going to be tomorrow? Lastly, scoreboard definition, mistakes are just not okay. And in a mastery definition, mistakes are okay. Why would that be important? For mistakes being okay. How do your athletes play when they're not afraid to make a mistake?
Play more loose.
They have less pressure. I need to have more fun.
Absolutely. It's more fun, less pressure. They're probably a little bolder if they're not afraid to make a mistake. Maybe more fluid. The number one impediment to peak performance is the fear of making mistakes. So if you can drive that home, that mistakes are okay, you're going to have athletes that not only are giving effort, but they're giving fearless effort. Yes?
Yeah.
We also know that mistakes are the lifeblood of learning. When you're allowed to make mistakes, when you're able to rebound, and when you're able to learn from them, you grow. Okay, so who orange shirt?
Sean, yep.
Sean, I'm so sorry. Sean, have you ever played football?
Not in a league.
Not in a league, but you've played, right? You've tackled somebody, right?
Of course.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're pretending here. Ruben, I'm stealing this from you. I'm sorry, but I loved this. So what I'd like you to do, am I done?
You are, but I want to see you do this. Go ahead. Yeah, that was the time limit, but I wanted to see you do this.
Okay, I got to speed this up. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so what I would do is I call Sean up. I'm going to have a ball, and I'm going to head down. It's me, right, little old me. I'm going to go, okay, Sean, when I count to 3, you're going to take me down. You're going to tackle me. I'm going to juke you. And we go down, and I'll say, please on 3, not on 2, not on 1, wait for 3. 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, not 3, hold on, and then say, how much control does Sean have over the outcome? Sean usually has 92%, right? Because there's me and there's Sean. How much control do I have? The rest of it. Go down, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, did that again, and then say how much control do we have over our effort? We have 100% control over the effort. But here's the thing. what you don't know about me is I got my 3rd degree brown belt in China, in the Shaolin Temple, with the Shaolin monks. So I have some tricks up my sleeve that Sean didn't know about. He might have some tricks up his sleeve that I didn't know about. The thing is, we can't control the outcome any more in this situation than our kids can control in the game. And I'm out of time.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Are you really a brown belt?
Yes.
Cool. I like that example a lot. That was great. Thank you very much. All right, and I don't want you to worry too much about time. The purpose of this is really to see your style and to see you present. If you don't get through from A to Z, we're okay with that. So don't feel like, you know, you're going to be penalized for not finishing it all in. It's to keep the pace, which you did a fine job with. But we cut you off at time for the sake of time, actually. All right, how did you feel about that, Lise?
I felt good. I think it needs to be smoother, and I think I need to tighten up what I do. I'd like to get more participation, kind of work on that.
Okay, great. I think you did a great job. I'm really impressed. I thought it was very, very nice. Dennis, could you give Lise a positive feedback?
I liked how thorough she was in explaining effort, and the different examples she gave. More in depth than the stuff that I presented on the elm tree as far as that. Her developmental zone explanation was very good, and I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to include that in my presentation, and I obviously didn't, but I liked the information that she gave about it. So yeah, and her stories were good. I liked the black belt and she's going to beat up on Sean idea, or brown belt. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Marty, how about you?
I thought it was great. Awesome job. I like the studies that you did in the beginning. I may need to use some of those when I'm pitching the parent workshops. But I loved your energy and your confidence, the questions that you were asking and getting us engaged, and just the way that you used those scenarios. I was entertained the whole time, so good job.
All right, thanks. Ruben?
Yes, I liked Lise. I like your intensity and your strong assertions. You don't, when you make a PCA point or you point out what the research says, you don't water it down. It's not kinda, this might, sorta. It's mastery improves performance. It's strong, it's assertive. I like it.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Nice job. Sean, how about you?
Well, first, I like that you didn't take me down using your brown belt, because I definitely don't have any tricks up my sleeve. And I really love that study that you had and how you tied it into, one of the key principles for us when it comes to dealing with parents, the ride home. And I was actually talking with Marty, and we would love a link to that study if you happen to have it anywhere, so that we could send it out to partners when they talk about getting parents involved. But I also really love the confidence that you had when you were presenting. I don't know how many times you've done this, but it seems like you're a natural and that you've done it before. And I think with just a little bit more practice, you'll definitely become a top flight trainer.
Thank you.
Taylor?
I specifically really liked the part when you explain the difference between the scoreboard definition and the mastery definition. I think watching some of our trainers, at least with the slide too, it's tricky with all the different points, but I thought you did a really good job of breaking it up and also tying it back to the clips that we showed earlier, and making it so we're not showing these clips to inspire you or just to have something filled in, like everything really relates. So I thought you did that really well.
Thank you.
Yep, I agree. I think also in the very beginning, Lise, when I met you, you said, I'm a little different here because I'm not a coach, and you seemed a little nervous about that, and I don't think that was an issue at all. I think your introduction with the school that you started and your philosophies of the school, I think that just gave you credibility right off the bat. I thought that was a great way to start, and I could care less that you have not been a 20-year coach, because I've seen so many people that have been coaching for years and years and years that aren't as effective as a presenter as you are. So I agree with Ruben. Your assertiveness, the studies you know in and out, and the neat thing is that in a school setting, you see it happening every single day. And it's neat the way that you sought out, you found PCA and you were like, wow, this is awesome. This is right in line with what you're doing. So that right off the bat I thought was fantastic. I'm stealing things from you left and right. I have like 3 pages of notes I took. Someone else told me the new term called R&D, which is rip off and duplicate, which I think is a wonderful thing to do. But I just love the terminology, even getting people to think, what's the bottom line in pro sports? What's the bottom line in youth sports? You're very simple, but you got us thinking. And I thought that was really important. The Brown and Miller study, I love. I'm assuming that's the one you said, is it okay to use the study that's PCA? Absolutely. I thought that was great. Even looking at those 2 videos, the Marshall clips, and saying similar and different. It's very simple, but it gets us to think.
Well, just so you know, that was replicate and duplicate from Ruben.
Yeah, which is fine. We all do it. I thought that was great. And then even the Johnny story, I just think about praising and how we praise effort, and how would Johnny take that if the shot was successful? How would Johnny take it if the shot was unsuccessful? It's just a great way to get. You had me thinking the entire time, and I've probably seen 1,000 trainers do these workshops, and I think you don't have to be bouncing off the wall and energetic. You were posing thoughtful questions that got me thinking, and that's the goal. So that was great. Yeah. Okay, how about a wish or a comment along those lines? Dennis, do you have one thing?
No, I kind of, her pace could have been picked up a little bit, but I, other than that, she was thorough. She was engaging. And that was the only thing. And the pace was a little slow, but maybe mine was too fast. I don't know.
Okay, thank you, Marty.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this will come with time when you get more comfortable doing it, so there won't be like long pauses in between. But at one point I remember there was a pause and you said, this is a participation or something like that, and you kind of smiled and laughed like, I want to see more of that too. Like, have fun with us, It's okay to break those silences and say something like that and just get us all, pull us in more, So, great job.
Ruben, go ahead.
Yeah, so the strength I pointed out also ties into the wish I have. I love the intensity. I'd like to see you break that up, and it ties in with what Marty just said. Break it up with. I don't think I saw you smile or laugh or heard you laugh for 15 minutes.
It's really nervous.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. That's unusual to converse and interact with someone for that long and not see a smile or hear them laugh. So, look for opportunities to do that, to show your lighter side as well, and then it will make that intense side all the more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Good point, Sean.
As a PM, I always have this wish, and it's hard to really use it now because we didn't have them. But when possible, use books that are, if the workshop has that. I know we didn't have that, but I know from a PM standpoint, we push really hard to encourage the partner to utilize the books, and we always appreciate it when the trainers are using them during the workshop because it justifies the partner purchasing them. So maybe if there's a way you can work that in a little bit into the presentation, I think Marty would appreciate it too.
Great.
Yeah, so Lise, you talked about effort goals, and that's a quick way, And you can read more about how useful and impactful effort goals are on page such and such in the toolkit chapter of ELM. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just that simple, quick reference alone goes a long way to positioning the book as a valuable resource.
Mm-hmm. I know that's something, Sean, that UPMs are always bringing up, and this morning we had someone present. We were actually saying, you're relying a little too much on the book, which was odd. That doesn't usually happen, but thank you for bringing that up. Taylor?
My only wish. It's tough. You did a really good job, Lise. I think, again, just to have a little bit more fun with it. You can tell when you talk that you're very passionate, and I love the reference about rugby, but just making sure that this is an enjoyable part of your day, because a lot of the coaches and people you're going to be talking with, if they're mandated to come there, it needs to be a time where they're having fun and learning. So just making sure you're smiling and laughing with them.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Great. I just have a few, and they're not big majors. Just to get picky here. One of the things that, and I always say, I don't know anybody. I assume that my audience doesn't know anyone. So when you say teams, like you said something about who knows, like does anybody know the All Blacks? And I'm sitting there like I have no clue who the All Blacks were, and then you went right into the story. So just to clarify, a lot of times when I go to workshops and I see trainers like name dropping or team dropping, and I sit there and go, I don't know who they're talking about. And you know, if you say, does everybody know who this person is? And you get, you know, half the heads to nod, then you continue on. I just like to clarify for the sake of somebody like me in the room that's going, who are the All Blacks? Is that youth? Is that professional? You know, we're not a big rugby on the East Coast. So that was just one thing I wanted to point out. The other one was, and along the lines of what Marty said, sometimes as trainers we ask rhetorical questions, and other times we ask questions that we want answers to, and we would say, okay, who can tell me? That's a good way to elicit an answer. And other times we stop a sentence halfway through and want the audience to fill in the blank. And I think it's very important to be clear. So when, like, at times you were asking a question, and all of us, I think we're sitting here going, does she want an answer? Is she going to give us an answer? Does she want us to? I don't know if everybody else felt that way, but I think when you said, like, hello, are you guys going to participate? I almost felt like saying, oh, I didn't know we were supposed to. So if you want an audience answer, make sure it's clear that that's what you're looking for, rather than just a drop sentence and fill in the blank. The other thing, when you asked, you know, to put up fingers, I love that tactic. I love that approach. I think that's great. 1, if you agree with scoreboard, or 2, if you agree with mastery. Of course, I put up a 1 just to be difficult. But I think it's good to acknowledge, you know, okay, Kelly, yes, you put up a 1, but really the answer is this. If I were in your audience, I'd be like, well, no, I have a much better reason for putting up a 1. And you didn't ask me why.
Right.
You know, I kind of felt like I was wrong. Like, oh, shoot, well, she just embarrassed me in front of the whole group telling me I was wrong for putting up a 1, where I could have had a really good answer. Not that I did, but I just thought it's just a good point to make up. Just
no, that's
always
really good. Thank you.
Hear everyone's sides of the story. So those were mine. I think you did a fantastic job. Absolutely. Does anybody else have anything to add for the good of the order? And then maybe Ruben, if you can stay on for a couple minutes, we'll sort of wrap it up. You're not unmuting. There you go.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I was nodding, but yeah, I can definitely stay on. And
okay.
How about if we have our staff members stay on too,
okay.
if they're available for a few more minutes, Taylor, Sean, and Marty, so they can be part of our debrief.
Okay, that would be fantastic.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where do what happens now, or where do we go from here? I mean,
do you want to field that, Ruben, or do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah. So again, we're going to debrief a little bit and formulate a plan for each of you. Here are the possible outcomes. One is we can say let's do another practice like this, and let's work on these things. 2 is we can look for an opportunity to plug you into a live workshop and do a piece of a live workshop along with a certified trainer and build from there. 3, we could ask you, or invite you, I should say, not ask you, but invite you to do the course again, and especially if you weren't able to participate completely and thoroughly, we could invite you to do that. And 4, quite honestly, another possibility is that we say, okay, you know, we appreciate the effort, and we think we've seen enough that we realize this isn't the fit we were looking for moving forward. And if we think that, we will communicate that to you ASAP, because we know the 2 of you and everyone else in the course has already put in plenty of time and effort into it. And if we were feeling that way, we would want to communicate it to you as soon as we came to that conclusion. So those are the various possibilities, Dennis, and those are some of the things that I'll discuss briefly with the staff here, but then Kelly and I will discuss more thoroughly, over the next few days.
Okay, good.
All right, but thank you so much, guys. We appreciate all your time.
Thank you for everything.
We will
Thank
be
you.
in touch.
Okay.
Thanks, Dennis. Thanks, Lise.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.